Hello family, and welcome back to our wild Ohio. This is the ultimate Morel mushroom hunting guide part 6. Welcome back, mushroom hunters. So is anyone finding those gifts from Mother Nature yet? I'd love to hear how your Morel hunts are going. Leave me a comment and let me know. Today we're going to talk about how to store your morels and what has worked best for me and my friends and family. Fresh morels can generally last in the refrigerator for about a week before they get kind of soft and mushy. If it's only going to be a day or so before I eat them, I just like to keep them in a paper bag in the fridge or open container. But for long-term storage, I like to saute them and then freeze my morels. But honestly, I prefer to dehydrate mine, which makes them shelf-stable, and mine don't normally last the whole year, but they totally could if you dehydrate them. Also, by dehydrating my morels, it saves freezer space, and also gives me the opportunity to stick my nose in the jar. You know, passing those morel jars, I always stop. That mushroomy spring scent just gets me every time. But to rehydrate them, I simply heat some water and pour it over them in a bowl, and then they can be used just like fresh morels. Here are some tips for the best dried morels. I dry mine so they are brittle enough to snap and don't bend whatsoever. Any remaining moisture will ruin them and will lead to mold in your jars. I just store my dried morels in glass mason jars in a cool, dark place. For absolute maximum longevity, I even keep some of my sealed mason jars of dried mushrooms in the freezer. This prevents any degradation from heat and light. When I'm ready to rehydrate some morels, I like to soak them in warm milk or broth for 15 to 20 minutes. But never toss that soaking liquid. Just strain it through a coffee filter to remove any grit, and use it as a powerful mushroom stock. When I have some smaller or broken pieces, I like to grind them into a powder to make a morel seasoning salt for steaks or eggs. Do you use a dedicated dehydrator for your morels? Or does anyone still prefer the old school method of stringing them up to air dry? Leave me a comment and let me know. I'm curious to see how many of you still do it old school. To prevent mine from becoming gummy or rubbery, I set my dehydrator between 120 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Going any higher risks cooking them before they even have a chance to dry, which ruins the texture when you rehydrate them. Depending on how many morels I'm trying to dehydrate, it can take anywhere from 4 to 10 hours. Large yellow morels will take significantly longer than smaller grays. I always know they're ready when they're brittle enough to just snap when you bend them. If they feel leathery or spongy, they need more time. When I have massive morels, I slice them in half lengthwise to ensure the thick stems dry at the same rate as the honeycomb tops. Once they are cracker dry, I store them in glass mason jars in a dark, cool part of my pantry, and they normally keep pretty well for up to 6 months. But for truly long-term storage, like a year or more, I place those sealed glass mason jars in my freezer. This prevents any residual moisture or ambient temperature swings from degrading the flavor over time. When you're ready to eat them, remember that rehydrating them in warm milk or cream instead of water can add an incredible richness. I always do this when I make a sauce for venison or steak. Morel mushrooms are fascinating, elusive, and highly prized by foragers and chefs alike. Here are 8 surprising facts about them. They are relatives of truffles. While they look like sponges, morels are actually in the Escomycota phylum, making them closer relatives to expensive truffles. They thrive in fire zones. Morels often grow in massive abundance this spring following a forest fire or in areas with disturbed soil. Stressed landscapes, such as logged areas or recent burn sites, trigger the mycelium to reproduce rapidly. They are incredibly hard to farm. Despite their high price, morels are almost impossible to cultivate in a traditional farm setting. Most are foraged in the wild because attempts to grow them indoors or on command have largely failed, making them a true seasonal find. They are prehistoric. Research has shown that morels have existed for over 100 million years, meaning they were around during the time of the dinosaurs. They can be toxic raw. Never eat a raw morel. They contain small amounts of hydrazine, a chemical compound that can cause severe stomach pain. Did you know morels can cause neurological symptoms like tremors or vertigo, and in extreme cases, liver damage? Yep, they sure can, but as long as you properly cook them, there's no reason to worry. They grow at lilac time. Foragers often wait for the blooming of the lilac bushes, which indicates the soil has warmed up enough. They camouflage perfectly. Morels are often gray or black, blending seamlessly with the forest floor's leaves and twigs. Experienced foragers often have to train their eyes to see them, and they are notoriously hard to spot. They are tree huggers. They have specific, mutually beneficial relationships with specific trees, particularly old, dead, or dying elm, ash, poplar, and apple trees. A word of caution: always be sure to identify a true morel, which is hollow from top to bottom, and never consume a false morel, which is solid or chambered inside. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wild Ohio adventures. Now, make sure you keep an eye out for the Ultimate Morel Mushroom Hunting Guide Part 7, because we're going to be sharing one of our most famous recipes from our new cookbook coming soon, called Our Wild Ohio Foragers Cookbook. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. This recipe actually takes a full 365 days just to prepare. And let's make sure we work together to protect and preserve our wild Ohio for generations to come.
Well, this brings us to the end of another episode, my friends. It's always a pleasure to share this journey with you, and I truly hope you found some valuable insights along the way. If you'd like to stay connected, I invite you to join our family by signing up for our newsletter at ourwildohio.com, so we can keep you up to date on everything we have planned. Also, it helps support the channel and doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us more than you know. We're also dropping bombs of knowledge over on Instagram, TikTok, and X, so don't miss out on the unique content that you'll only see there. Now get out there and enjoy our wild Ohio, and until we meet again, stay wild, my friends. Thank you for watching Our Wild Ohio. It's support from viewers like you who make it all possible. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. Join our family and become a member of Our Wild Ohio by visiting the link in the description below. And until we meet again, stay wild, my friends.